AOC joined Joe Biden's task force as the co-chair of the climate change task force. Co-chair. Can you believe it? Like, man, Biden must be super progressive. Now, before I go on my, I got to rant. Before I go on that, I'm going to let y'all speak first. So, Pops, I'm going to let you take this one first, and then Fee, you go ahead.
You know what? I'm going to let Fee go big on this one. As long as these whole task force are a bunch of jokes. And I kind of pointed out that they created. I'm like, well, wait, is there a task force for election integrity? No. Is there a task force to talk about how we protect our civil liberties? No. All right, well, there surely has to be a task force on foreign policy. No. Instead, you got all these little kind of, and they're important subjects and issues and stuff, but what are they really going to do? These people don't have a lot of power. I mean, AOC does have some power, but Donald Trump is the president. So you're just going to get in a room, talk about virtue signaling because you're really not presenting any solutions. You're just talking for this, and they're not doing that anyways. So AOC on it, once again, it's just the optics, I think, to make the neo-progressives think that they're doing something right. Go ahead.
Well, no, that short statement, fam. No.
Short for
no,
me.
It was just I was just gonna say I don't think it has anything to do with Trump though. This like the bigger issue here is that they're trying to make progressives buy into this idea that we're gonna have this multi-generational, amazing, like inclusive, progressive unity platform. Where did that get us last time? It really got us very little. We thought it got us something because we thought we were going to make it to the convention. We didn't even do that. We didn't even get to have the whole super delegate process, right? And now they're acting like everything's okay, that Joe Biden's terrible candidacy, the fact that he has like zero support, the fact that he has all of these accusations, especially the Tara Reade one, they're completely ignoring all of that. They're ignoring the fact that the Bernie Sanders campaign was so corrupt from the inside. They're ignoring the fact that they completely pushed out all the hardcore delegates and activists. Where is Nina Turner? Where is Mariana Joy Gray? They're not involved in this. Why? Because they would actually provide actual opposition to what the Joe Biden campaign wants. This isn't a sort of coming together of like-minded people. This is entirely co-option. This is entirely submission. This is the Sanders campaign basically bowing down to the Joe Bidens and then putting pretty little bows on it and making it out to be like it's going to do anything for us. And it's just, that's just not, it's a slap in the face, really, because how can you join the corruption that you were set out to oppose? There is no opposition. There is just bullshit. Like he said, it's just a bunch of platitudes and nothing really is there.
Can I say something else, Niko, too? Even if those other people that were supposed to be on the task force that Fiorella just mentioned, that really, the real leaders, the real activists, that really know what's going on the ground and everything like that, it's still part of the situation where I say, enough with this bullshit. Grow up and learn how to govern. You know what I'm saying? I understand that it's important to come up to solutions, but you got to get those solutions into play. It's just like what Tim Canova talked about. When Bernie Sanders won, rather than join the likes of the Schumers and the Pelosi's and turn around and said that Donald Trump's the most evil man and the worst president of all times, no, you're the leader of the progressive movement. Say, hey, Donald Trump, we want this. We want an infrastructure bill. And I'm going to go back and tell my people that you said no when I put it in front of you. That's how you get shit done. The people who are calling shots, you get in their face with their solutions. So that's why even the task force, that it doesn't have the right members, even if it had the right members, it's not going to have the right tactic to actually get
there's no control. Well, those people wouldn't be in control anyway. That's the thing. You're making deals with the devil and trying to make it look like it's something good. Yeah. There's no power there. We have zero leverage.
So I agree with everything I just said, but we about to go in real quick. So, ladies and gentlemen, one quick question: in what world has a politician like Biden, hell, even like Trump, the Clintons of the world, the Bushes of the world, when have they put people or elevated people into specific positions that were actually going to work towards the goals of the people? Since in what world has that ever happened? Never happened. Okay, so just out of curiosity, that's the first thing I want to ask. Second thing, how is AOC close to being qualified to be the co-chair of any climate committee. Nope. What has she gotten done? Not even close. I'm curious. What has she gotten done? What?
Oh, the Green New Deal.
Yeah, that's what they'll say.
They're doing it. It's the optics.
Right.
Oh, exactly. Oh, but we not done. So the only person who ran for president that actually has the best, who actually had climate change legislation, period. I'm not talking about resolution. I'm talking about a bill that was backed by more climate organizations than any other bill in history, any other climate change bill in history. Okay. AOC did not work with Tulsi on that bill. No one else has a bill that even comes close, including AOC. AOC has not introduced any substantive legislation addressing climate change since she's been in Congress and since she's introduced the Green New Deal. And in fact, let's be honest, right? I would say that Merkley's probably better on climate change.
Absolutely.
Than AOC
Tom
is. Steyer, exactly. Steyer even, and is even more quote unquote neoliberal, right? You would assume that he fits the bill more. Okay. Yep. But yet they chose AOC. Why did they choose AOC? Well, because AOC can play ball. AOC, all of a sudden, they went from we're primarying anyone who ever questions whether or not Kavanaugh is guilty. He's absolutely guilty. And if you say otherwise, we're primarying you, even if you just ask for due process. This is the same person who then turns around and then pretends, the Tara Reade situation is a little bit murky. We don't know. It's a little messy. But you know what she said in an interview? AOC. This is how they know she'll play ball. She said, but we won't, Tara Reade herself hasn't said that she wouldn't vote for Biden.
Yeah.
My jaw dropped. I couldn't.
I know, I saw it. It's crazy.
I was like, so she's putting all this out there because she plans on voting for him? Are you kidding me?
She literally said she wasn't too.
Exactly. So there's that. So on top of all this, I remember when Tulsi Gabbard ran for president, most progressive on climate change out of all the presidential candidates. When she endorsed Biden, everyone threw the shade of all shade at her, saying that she must have been gunning for a cabinet position. She must have been fighting for, and if that was the case, it couldn't be that she was doing it. It couldn't possibly be that she was doing it because she wanted to make change in whatever administration she could, even though she set that example already. She's already set that precedent for herself. It must be just because she's a neoliberal in disguise. We're fast forward now. There's been probably out of the entire squad, no one has capitulated more to Biden and defended him more than AOC has over the last couple of weeks out of everybody in the squad. And obviously, we know it's to play ball because this is the pattern that AOC has established. So why is it, ladies and gentlemen, that AOC is not being absolutely dragged? I see some people coming around, some people raising an eyebrow. But when Tulsi just said, hey, Kamala is being disingenuous when she's comparing her record to Biden, people canceled her. So please, someone educate me on what the hell is going on in this progressive movement.
Well, the whole thing has been that AOC came out of the Justice Democrats. She came out as being the darling, the Democratic Socialist woman who was an activist and an organizer, come out of the Bernie Sanders movement. So she had all that built up for her. She was handpicked by Justice Democrats. They completely put all their money on her, kind of like American Idol. Like, oh yes, this is our girl. We're going to make sure she makes it. They completely left out a lot of other candidates that they had selected. Same thing with Brand New Congress. A lot of the people who were supposed to get the money never got their money. And a lot of people, maybe eventually someday, you're going to hear them speaking out a lot, how they were mistreated in comparison to AOC and how they saw right through her. And they just won't say anything right now because of her fandom. Because the moment you start criticizing AOC, oh, you must be jealous, or you must be a establishment Republican, you hate progressives, you don't know anything about politics. So people I think a lot more people have been critical of AOC. They've just been really smart as to how they're gonna approach it, because she is worse than Bernie when it comes to the sycophants. I mean, people worship this woman, and that's, I think, a problem. Regardless of how I feel of AOC, you should not put people on a pedestal, put these politicians that high up as if they're celebrities. They're public servants. And I think AOC was catapulted to this fame so quickly that she feels untouchable. But if you've noticed, she's just made her career being on Twitter, going after Republicans, but she has not at all gone after Nancy Pelosi, gone after Chuck Schumer. She retweets Adam Schiff all the time. She agrees with everything they say. Kamala Harris is another one. Her relationship with Nancy Pelosi should be one of opposition. Instead, it is one of embracing her and really following her. And I think AOC is actually partly, I used to think she was like Warren. I think she's worse than Warren. I think she's in line to be like the next Obama.
She's more dangerous than Warren. Yes, I think she's much more dangerous.
It's the optics too as well. And Niko, I know you kind of mentioned this too when you started off this line of talking. The optics are so ridiculous that to think that AOC is much stronger on climate change and fighting for a Green New Deal when compared to Tulsi. Tulsi's always kind of got, nobody's really given her the credit this time around. This is Water Woman. All right, this is a lady when you said, hey, Son of Onofre, they have these pipes out there that are deteriorating in nuclear water. You know what she did? She jumped on a board and went out there to look at it herself. This is a woman who picks up trash from the beach on her birthdays. She has a reef safe in Hawaii. She was probably the only reason she is a Democrat rather than an independent, or definitely not a Republican, is when she came into public office, the Democrats had the more Al Gore mentality of going after climate change. It was probably the thing that swung her to be a Democrat at that time, because that was her number one issue. And she's got a long laundry list of things she's done, especially in the state of Hawaii, when it comes to climate change and climate protection. AOC just threw out this bullshit. First of all, it wasn't even hers. It was
Markey's.
What do you call that? When it's not for
it's a resolution.
It was a resolution that said let's end, and it was ridiculous. It was so over the top. Now, granted, she might have.
And it's funny because it was over the top and underwhelming at the exact same time. Yeah. Like, that's the best description you can give of it. And when you're talking about a bill that doesn't address fracking, of course he's comfortable with putting AOC as co-chair. When you're talking about a resolution, when you're talking about a resolution that doesn't address nuclear power in any way, good or bad, like just give us a solution. Nope. Nothing. When your goal isn't to ban fossil fuels, but instead to reduce to net zero emissions, you know how many ways you can manipulate numbers to make it look like zero net emissions? Like zero net emissions doesn't do anything for the environment necessarily speaking. So that's why they're comfortable with AOC being the co-chair. But the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that they are comfortable with AOC as the co-chair of that task force and not so much with Tulsi Gabbard being the co-chair of that particular task force, or any other task force for that matter, it speaks volumes. But most importantly, it says this: y'all been cheering for the wrong one, period. And the quicker you all can see this, the better off the movement will be. Not just because it's not just about Tulsi and it's not just about AOC, but it's about the mindset. Every time I have an engagement with someone who wants to defend AOC, I always tell them, if you can't defend her with the policy, I'm not talking to you. I'm not entertaining you. Because if you want me to defend Tulsi, Tulsi's a cool person, but I'm not about to talk about her personality. I got a long list of bills I got to go down before I can even get to her personality, before I can even get to her integrity. I got to talk about Standing Rock before we get to that point. I got to talk about the OFF Act. I got to talk about the Securing America's Elections Act. I got to talk about the fact that she's the only one who picked up the phone when the victims or the families of the victims of 9/11 called. I got to talk about the fact that she was the only one to get Syria right out of all the presidential candidates. I got to talk about the fact that she tried the No More Presidential Wars Act. She tried to hold Trump accountable. Got to talk about the Stop Arming Terrorists Act. She tried to hold the military industrial complex accountable. Got to talk about her bill not once, but twice to end the war in Syria. See, if I'm going to defend my candidate as a surrogate or otherwise, if I'm going to defend anybody when it comes to politicians, it's policy. But it's at the point where now we have it's May now. She's been in Congress since January. AOC has. Where the bills at?
Yeah.
Like, what are you defending if it's not bills? Well, she's learning. No. So why is Rashida introducing bills? Why is even Ayanna Pressley introducing a bunch of bills? Why is Ilhan introducing a bunch of bills?
She's busy on Twitter going after Republicans.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'll be damned. Come Friday, when they vote on this bill for the new bailout, that $3 trillion bailout, oh boy, I'm just waiting for AOC to start grandstand. Because now there's no, and I'm pretty sure the Republicans did this on purpose. They denied it. They've been making a fuss about this particular piece of legislation. Whereas the first time when the Democrats introduced the corporate bailout the first time as well, the Republicans just kind of went with it. And so the Democrats were able to muddy the waters and make it seem like the Republicans wanted everything in that bill. But instead, now the Democrats introduced a new bailout with a bunch of pork barrel to their states on top of the pork barrel to the corporations.
Yeah.
And now the Republicans are like, we don't want that. They said we don't want it. They said if it gets to the Senate, they're going to try to shoot it down. The Republicans did. So now you can't pretend that these bailouts are coming from the Republicans this particular time. No, and I'm interested to see how that looks. Go ahead.
Well, they're protecting mortgage companies that protect mortgages. In other words, not the mortgage banks itself, the companies that actually protect the mortgages, that do all the work, the ones who got Graham Elwood, who say, hey, go into this program and they'll do it, and then they pull it back. They're protecting creditors. They get bailout money for them. There's so much shit inside this pork bill, and it all comes. And then Nancy Pelosi's staple to this bill: let's give money to Cobra, not money to Medicare and money to direct assistance. Let's give money to insurance companies. That's what it's all about.
The Republicans are the only problem we have.
Yeah,
and that's according to even progressives.
It's terrible.
It's ridiculous, and we're like, once you all figure out the Rubik's Cube that is. How in the hell could you have ever thought that AOC was more progressive than Tulsi Gabbard, was more brave than Tulsi Gabbard, more populist and anti-war than Tulsi Gabbard, better on any given issue than Tulsi Gabbard? And once you figure out that answer, then you'll understand why the progressive movement has been a failure and what we can do to move forward. Like, because if I can't explain that very simple fact to you, then how the hell am I going to explain the nuanced conversation that Biden is in no way better than Donald Trump? How are you going to be able to understand that? How are we going to have the nuanced conversations that entail when you're talking about election fraud or election integrity? Like, there's different levels in different situations at different states, and it's going to look different every time. But you got to be able to, like, how are we going to be able to have these conversations if you can't see past what the mainstream media is telling you, which is somehow it's actually AOC who is the quote unquote heir to the progressive movement, not the one who sacrificed her career from it. It's actually the person who has done no sacrificing and has only gained from the progressive movement that others sacrifice for. If you like that segment of Mi Casa es Su Casa, don't forget to like the video and smash that subscribe button. Want access to members only live streams, behind the scenes footage, and other premium content? Well, you can endorse us on Rokfin Premium, become a patron through Patreon, or you can sign up for the MCSC Premium membership through YouTube. All the links are in the description below. But hey, more than anything else, always remember,
find your balance.
Find your balance.
Find your balance.
Find your balance. Find your balance.
Find your balance. Find your balance.
Always remember, more than anything else, find your balance.
peace.